This is RPMMORadio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about role-playing and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job.
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Sibh'Bae, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players, and welcome to RPMMORadio, episode 44. How to be ahead of the curve, noob. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as always, are the other people that are apparently here every now and again. I don't know who they are. There's this Jazz, there's a Sib, there's a Sibh'Bae. Kishmas will, of course, be late. As many of you have probably seen, his best friend up in New York was court-ordered to move out of his parents' house, and he's helping him leave and pack up right now. And,
well, last week he was whaling. I guess this one he's doing domestic stuff.
I know. It's just he's a man of many talents. I mean,
many talents.
Yeah, I mean, when a 30-year-old child is forcibly removed from their home, I mean, you've just got to reach out to your friend and you've got to help them. I mean, am I right, guys? Am I right? 30-year-olds, you know.
Wasn't there a movie about that called Failure to Launch?
You're not the first one to bring up that. It is literally that plot come to life with a long-haired, pasty-faced, probably role player.
Oh, I
That's
saw
terrifying.
that guy.
Yeah, he looks like he would probably try to have to be sued out of his house with his parents. So anyway, that has nothing to do with roleplay, but that's where Kishmas is at. Once he's done helping his best buddy. I mean, that's just what I assume. He never actually tells me what he's doing. He says it's work.
So he's helping to evict a basement troll, in other words.
Basically, yeah.
Gotcha.
A basement troll.
You're so...
Or as we like to call them, our people.
That's terrifying.
All right. But anyway, so no, everybody, appreciate you tuning in. We do this every Saturday, 7 Central Time, twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. If you like what you hear, go ahead, give us a follow, give us a subscribe if you got one of those Amazon Prime things. If you feel like throwing some cash our way, which why wouldn't you? I mean, according to my mom, this is the best podcast. And she's not actually listened to it. I just assume that that's probably what she would say if she did listen to it. It'd also be the only podcast she's listened to, but that's not either here nor there. You can also, speaking of podcasts, go to Apple Podcasts, Android podcast apps. Just pick your poison. Spotify, Podbean. There's just basically, if it's a podcast app, we're there. We're just like Chicken Man. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Really old reference for any of our really older, my age people. And even then, probably may not even remember the song. Anybody? Am I alone? Am I alone in remembering Chicken Man?
No, I remember.
Yeah, that's right. And where was he, Jazz?
That I don't remember.
He was everywhere. He was everywhere.
I thought you meant where it originated, but I remember.
No idea. Who gives a crap that much?
It's everywhere. I think it was Sesame. No, Electric Company.
I thought it was an actual song from a real-life band. Now
was it?
You get the duty of looking that up and informing everyone of Chicken Man. But yeah, so appreciate everybody. You know, just if you got Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give us a star review. Give us an actual written one. Everything, for whatever reason, is all tied into Apple products. So if the more stuff we get from there, the more we get float to the surface of the podcast stew that is out there. I don't know if you're aware of this, there's a lot of them. Not all of them are, and believe it or not, there's ones that are worse than this. It's actually true. I know it's hard to believe, but they sound really bad. If you're filming and recording in the end of a pipe, like a sewer pipe, let's say in London, still would probably sound better than some of the ones I've heard.
Okay, so I found out where it's from.
Okay.
It is from a 1960s site, or not site.
Back when the internet was really young.
Really young. It was a radio, I think it was a radio show. Yeah. Chicago radio station, WCFL. Chicken Man was created by Dick Orkin, and he wrote 273 episodes of the fantastic crime fighter the world has ever known.
Chicken Man.
Chicken Man.
Wow.
You guys are old. I don't even.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere. And then they did it on the Muppets.
Okay.
And I think they also did it on Electric Company. Which
that has to be where
fabulous.
I have seen it was the
Yeah.
Muppets. Yeah.
I think that's where we all, I mean, some of us knew
Yeah, because I would live in
knew it from the
Chicago.
I knew it was from the Electric Company, which you might remember, you might not, was from, that was like after Sesame Street. It was for older kids. It was really good. I used to watch it religiously as a child.
I remember Electric Company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Yep.
Yep.
We are old.
Yes,
Very
we are.
old. Yeah, Straffe, you remember that, right? You remember?
I do remember the bill on Capitol Hill.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
And the
God.
Tootsie Property Owl. Yes, I remember all that.
All right. See, this podcast is brought to you by AARP.
Yeah, I grew up with He-Man. Come on, I
that's true.
I
Yeah,
caught
you-
some of that stuff.
You had the Hanna-Barbera era at least, so
It was Funimation.
let's
but yeah.
we can make all 4 shades of this cartoon into a 25-minute program. We've only got 4 pictures, so use them wisely. That was the good old days. So, with that, too, I want to give a special thanks to all of our Patreon donors, every single one of you. You are all awesome.
Woo!
Especially that guy, Laza, and a Truth Bob, who are at a raid boss level. Patreon.com/RPMMORadio. If you like what you hear, you want to help support the show, keep equipment going, get random pictures of Sib with a stuffed llama. Just saying.
That went out to everybody.
Right, but maybe we could do like a, llama shows all pictures, just get some of those.
I'm sure we could.
Get some of that deep llama action.
I'm making Lou naughty.
I'm just saying, she is a llama, and she is a Lou. She's a llama Lou. Drama llama Lou.
We're not talking to you Thursday evening.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I'm gonna hold your paychecks then. Oh wait, I don't pay you. That's right. Oh, appreciate that, Sir T-Man, for following us. And,
Thank you.
And also for making sure that during the live show that Grandpa Simpson comes on the channel stream. You guys will have to go back and watch the video. So anyway, with that, let's see what we have been doing in roleplay. Let me take a look here. I got it written down. Whoever is in the Discord chat directly under my name is... Oh, look at that. It's Jazz. Yeah. Yeah, it's Jazz. Huh. All right, well, Jazz, what have you been doing?
Well,
yes.
yeah.
Now,
woohoo.
okay, now are you gonna tell this in a story form, or are you just gonna try that this time?
Oh gosh.
You think you could do it? Just you don't have to do all of them. Just like pick one really good one, and then use that.
I didn't prepare for that, so I'm not going to do it this time. But I will prepare for it next time. So I have it
I'm
all
sorry,
written out.
listeners. I know she promised this last time, but this is just the kind
I
of quality.
did not. I said I'd
Oh.
like to try it. So.
It's just this kind of work ethic we can expect from Jazz. Jazz, after the show, I'm gonna need you to come into my office, bring a box with all your things.
Yeah.
In.
Yeah. Anyway,
just go for
I've
it.
been I started RPing with my Dark Elf, my Dunmer meal that I made, so I could get into the servants. And I started RPing him on Sunday. He went to the thing there. He met some people at the tea house, and I did eventually get him in over the course of the week. So that's is a big deal.
Yeah, you did a
So I was
thing.
really happy about that. He's going to be really hard for me to roleplay because I OOCly bristle at religious stuff. So I'm
It'll be good
not
for you to get out of
only
your comfort
it is.
zone, I think.
It is very much not in my comfort zone at all.
Just
because
remember, Elm Civi are not actual gods.
Oh,
It makes
that
it a
doesn't
lot
help.
easier.
Actually, it makes it worse.
There will
that
be
does
no
not help.
There will be no repercussions except for that of the Almighty God, who will, of course, be judging you, and you will be cast into a lake of fire that burns but does not consume you for your heresy.
Yes. Thank you. I feel so much better now.
I was just trying to make you feel like you were at the family reunion.
Yeah, you did a good job.
So we're gonna get... All right, I'm part of the
We
family.
love you. We'll pray for your soul. Yeah. Welcome to my family.
That shriveled black thing, good luck. No.
Let's see. We have a couple of new members in Alania, so they got in over the week, and that was a lot of, various small part role plays. And Cial moved her part in the role play with the evil twin that we're doing with Strafe and his storyline. So Cial is going around and basically telling necessary people her secret so that Jay doesn't have any control over her.
What's her secret?
She hasn't talked to Nex yet, so you wouldn't know.
That's why I was asking. I was just like,
yeah, because she's going to have to come talk to him now.
Is it how to make her brew? Is it her home brew recipe? Is that what it is?
No, it's not. Sorry.
No, it should be.
No, it's because she hasn't exactly been truthful about how long she has been out of the marsh. And she really didn't tell the other people that she was mentoring under that she had been mentored before. So there's a trust issue probably that she has to come true on, and it should be interesting. She's come clean with Caves, and she came clean with Frathalis, and she came clean with Typhon, but she has yet to find Nex to tell him. So it's going to be interesting.
To be fair, though, in my defense, Nex has been roaming the lands of Hyrule to fight the calamity of Ganon this week. So, yeah, that's why I have kind of been no-show most of this week.
Well, no, and that's fine. I don't mind because I had all this other
Also, you need to
role play
remind
I
me
had to do anyway.
I can always make time for it. You just got to be like, hey, by the way, let's do that.
I'll just have to poke you. I was just waiting for you to be in game, and then I would poke you, and it just never happened, so I just didn't think about it till just now.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else?
Somerset, too.
Yeah, we all have been doing that. I got Zashel, who is the male Dunmer that I made, to 16, so I was really proud about that because now he's got new armor and he looks really good. I'm really happy about that. I like to get to 16 because then they have both sets of weapons. It's easier for me to switch out and things like that. So
yeah.
Let's see. Friday I missed Telvanni because I had a day from hell. I will spare you. I didn't even get on the computer until 8:30 last night. Because my day was just insane. So I missed the Telvanni RP completely, but I did get into the tail end of it, the open RP part. So that was fun. But then I went on Cial, and I went to the tavern on Riften, which is always, as you know, a dicey experiment from time to time.
Crapshoot.
Yes, it is. And this was one of the more crap than shoot.
That's a good way to put it.
We got into, these guys tried to arrest someone in the guild, in the tavern, as if they had the right to, because they thought she was a werewolf, and she may be, I don't know. But they were trying to arrest her and take her off to basically kill her. And the other bar people were like, you can't do that. You don't have any authority here. You can't do that. Let her go. You don't know that. Are you a werewolf? Of course I'm not a werewolf. So, of course she's going to lie, even if she is one.
Right. As werewolves tend to do.
Right. Why wouldn't they? I mean, Cial's one, and she just didn't know. So they had silver, and she very carefully stayed away from the silver dagger, but she was still in the person's face, and they basically completely ignored everyone and tried to just walk out with this girl. And that didn't go over very well with most of the people there. So they were like, you have 6 people surrounding you, all with their weapons drawn, telling you to let this girl go, and you're just going to push by them because you're not afraid of them? Really? No, that's not how it works. So we ended up retconning it, and all the people that were involved just kind of went back as if it didn't happen. And the people that continued to try to role play with this chick, and she got upset because she felt like we were mad at her. So she left, and I sent her a tell and was like, dude, you didn't do anything wrong. This wasn't about you. This was about them. You did everything you were supposed to do, which did help her feel better. I felt bad for her because I think she felt we were yelling at her. And nobody was yelling at anybody. We were just saying, dude, you can't just walk past 6 people with weapons drawn and not get hurt or anything. And they're like, we didn't ask for you guys to get involved.
Then don't do it in public.
Then don't start a roleplay like this in a tavern that's full.
Let that be a lesson to the rest of this episode, newbies. Listen up. Don't do that.
Yeah. This is something that if you do this, there are consequences. I mean, you can tell people up front, look, this is just something we're doing. Please don't over-dramatize this. We don't want a whole bunch of fuss. And people will roll their eyes, but they'll ignore you. That's fine. And you know what? It happens quite a bit in taverns. So we are used to that, but at least tell us up front. The problem also was there was a gentleman in the bar who was, well, he looked like Nosferatu. White skin, pointy eyes, he looked like he had...
Are you a vampire? No, why do you ask?
No, and he said, yes, I am.
Yeah, I know, but...
I am a vampire.
I like my way better.
I am not afraid of you because I am supposed to not be afraid, and I am not afraid to be a vampire because I have a right to be who I am, or something like that. Anyway, Cial, after they left, and after their parting shots were, Cial's obviously not believable because she's a little thing. And he's not believable because he's a vampire. Nobody would actually be a vampire unless they were crazy. Saying it out loud in the open.
No, I was just thinking anybody that plays a vampire is crazy. That's sorry,
and
people.
a couple people tried to argue with him about it, but it was just like, there's no point, just let it go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Cial said to the vampire, can I talk to you? And they went upstairs, and she told him, dude, unless you want to get put on a pike on fire, you need to stop telling people that you're a vampire because it's going to get you killed, particularly in a place like this.
And Jazz wanders off.
No, I didn't wander off. My boy wandered in. And then realized
it just sounded like you were getting more and more distant as you walked away.
I just turned around and looked at him, and he slunk out and shut the door. So, my 7-year-old.
Get out of here, monkey.
Anyway. So, and then it was because he started getting kind of pissy with Cial. And I silly told him, look, this isn't her picking on you. This is just, there are going to be people, I don't care, but there are going to be people who won't even role play with somebody that's openly playing a vampire like this. And he just kept explaining how his blood mother said that they were not to hide, they were to be in the open. And Cial was like, well, then she's trying to get you killed, and maybe she doesn't like you as much as you think. So he got mad, said I was butting in and I should mind my own business and stop trying to tell him what to roleplay and stop trying to control my RP.
My immersion.
Yeah. So I apologized, but he wouldn't let it go, and he put me on ignore. So it was kind of funny. But
yeah.
Then I left not long after that because I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Sometimes it's just like, yep. But yeah, it's like that famous song. You gotta know when to hold him and know when to fold him.
I should have kept my mouth shut because most people who are going to
tried. You gave it a shot.
I was trying to be nice about it because, new role players may not know.
Right,
and
that's why you're here and why we do this, to try to help. And we actually do that, sometimes probably more than we should, just because we want people to enjoy roleplay. We want to help them, and
it blew up in my face last night.
They're beyond help. What's that,
Speaking of our episode title.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, speaking of our episode title, she's describing
exactly.
what we'll talk about later.
Yeah. It's between you and Sib. You guys were like, hey. So I picked the one I liked.
That was my RP in a nutshell. There you go.
All right. So, Sibh'Bae, since you were speaking up, what'd you do?
I didn't get much done. Everybody's playing Somerset, right? If you've
pretty much, yeah. I don't expect to. I didn't do much this week either.
So I'm mildly sneaking around the homeland where I'm not supposed to be. Trats like hooded, just trying not to get noticed, doing my thing. Other than that, I got Kizian into the servants Thursday night.
Think so.
Yep, everybody was at Temple. I was in chains, sat there by House of Lalu with a note. At some point, Rajir rolled over. He handed the note, chains, and said, "This is my son. House Falalu. He's been playing the bandit. He's the server die. We leave this to your discretion. So Kishmas looked at that and said, server die, huh? Yeah, we'll see if you make it. Assigned me to some crazy silver-hatted lady. And a priestess. At this time, Jazz's tune rolls through and says, hey, that's the guy who stole my dagger. To which my tune winked at him, and he was being literally over the top. It's like, do you repent of your sin? He's like, oh, yes, darling. I absolutely repent of my wretched ways.
It was hilarious. He was so campy.
The priest was like, yeah, we'll see about that. They made me crawl on my knees all the way back to Ebonheart, and then into the Thieves Guild there for the shrine of some former thief that went temple devotee.
Yeah, it was one of the saints. They've done that a few times I've seen. I guess that
Saint Arnar.
There was a few times that Kizdian almost died. If it wasn't for stray healing from Jazz's character, and then of course the priestess started noticing that he was maybe on the edge of not making it, but he didn't give up, which earned him the respect silently of the silver-clad ordinator with us.
I think that was High Ordinator of Vul, if I remember.
Yeah,
story right. Yeah,
they got better. The first of the night, she had punched me in the face, which was, she didn't say attempt to punch, she just straight up punched me. And I went with it because I get it. I was being a total troll, but that's my character. I was just like, former bandit, former noble, former bandit, all ridiculous. So he was so wore out by the time he got there. He was literally praying to the tree, saying, "Hey, I'll do anything, just don't let me die. I repent of my ways, but I will not grovel for things I can't change anymore." And the priestess was like, "Fair enough. That we can work with that. Let's get him back." Yeah. They got him back, healed him, and he knocked out. He's still in the infirmary probably. And if Roger and the other ordinator drill instructors expect him to like run a lap around, he's gonna be like, "I'm sorry, I can walk stiff-leggedly, but your priestesses seem to have hobbled me for the time being."
Yeah.
So now it was fun. I thanked him for the RP. It lasted way into the night. Everybody else had went to bed, but I stuck through it.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that stuff could go on the walking through a zones after zone. Sometimes I think some of that stuff should be sped up, but that's just me. Although I guess if you had to do that,
pick a shorter distance.
Right. Well, I think
that was really fun. On the Jail Thalas, the twin of my main tune, he is sneaking around looking for certain artifacts, about to make the next phase that RP go through. So heads up for y'all. It should be fun in the future.
Cool. I think we all look forward to hearing on that too. All right, Sib, you want to go?
I can't. It's short and sweet.
Get it done. Make it show number one.
Get her done. No, let's see. I went to Tea House Saturday night, and I met how do you pronounce his name, Jazz? Your new character. Help me out. Hello? I think she's gone.
I'm here.
What's your new character's name?
Zashel.
Zashel. I went to Tea House and met Zashel. And then, let's see. Monday, I didn't go in game. Tuesday, I didn't go in game. Wednesday, I don't think I was in game. Thursday, I went in for the guild night on Alanu and just kind of had some casual, laid back RP. And then I stepped over to kind of watch Strafe's thing. I started out on one character and then I ended up on another. And I started out on the pilgrimage. But holy cow, it was so long, and I was already, like, knocking at bedtime's door, so I was like, I gotta bow out. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That was a brutal walk, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I don't think Kizdian has kneecaps anymore. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, you do. They're just spread over a 12-mile course on the ground.
Yeah. It was a little rough.
Yeah, that.
But
it's just little knee particles ground into the stonework everywhere.
But yeah, so that happened, and then I ended up having to leave because, of course, got to go to work, and so I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
And then last night I was not in game, so I pretty much just had Thursday that I kind of logged in, did stuff. I was in and out all day Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it. Short and sweet, kind of boring.
Excuse me. Yeah. Well, I managed to finally get what I'm saying. It's my birthday gift, but I got a Switch this week. Somebody in our neighborhood was selling it, 3 games, a Pro controller, and something else for like basically the price of a Switch all by itself. So I was like, yeah, mine, yoink. And of course, one of those games was Zelda, and the other one was Mario Kart 8. The other one was FIFA, which is a game. I used that one to test the thing I've heard about the Switch cartridges being laced with something that makes them super bitter, so that kids don't put them in their mouths.
Really?
They're super. Oh yeah, the plastic is actually has a chemical so that it tastes super bitter. And I just touched the tip of my tongue to it. If a kid manages to swallow that, the kid deserves to swallow it. He's earned it. It was awful. It was like a half hour worth of like bleh in my mouth. And that was just with a small lick. So I'm going to trade that one into GameStop. DNA evidence and all. So the one role play I had, probably that I'll go over, is actually Sunday night. Well, I didn't go to the tea house, but I got hit up by somebody. So let's see here. It was in the city of Vivek in Vardenfell, as Kenix was walking along the parapets and the walkways of the massive city, the torchlight glittering off the water around there, the ordinators doing their patrols, the hustle and bustle of a major literally growing city at night. And as he walked along there, he stopped and looked over the railing and gazed upon the holy palace of Vivek, as he generally had a sense that he had picked up a small tale. Now, he's done that from time to time. Usually, he assumes the first and foremost is that it's Sial, because she does that.
Yes, she does.
She does that. And fortunately rather, it wasn't her. He did think it would be a bit sloppy of her to be that close. But as he more sensed than actually heard, they were exceptionally quiet, that somebody was coming up behind him. He spoke to the air, just as in general, that perhaps people don't really gaze upon the holy shrine of Vivek the way they should. They don't appreciate what they have here in this very city. Sometimes they go about their business and they don't look up. They don't realize that some points in their life could change in a single moment. Maybe even just a handful of them throughout the entirety of their life can shift one way or the other, for good or for ill, everything they've ever known. And he didn't feel any tugs at his purse, and he just casually turned and, "Oh, look, there's a little Bosmer there. Come here, little Bosmer. You join me at the railing here. Don't worry. I won't hurt you, but I do have to insist that you join me." And she did. She was a timid little thing, very, very short. Either she was very malnourished or very young. To be honest, it was really hard for him to tell. With Bosmer, they all kind of look alike, unless they have the horns. That's really the only way he could tell most of them apart, depending on how they dress, of course. As far as he knew, he had never met this one, and she quietly and somewhat shyly stood up to it. He could tell that she was very, very unsure, but she was also caught trying to pick the coin purse at his back pocket. Now, the reason he didn't call the guard immediately was because, one, she didn't run, which is always a good sign of somebody with a good head on their shoulders, and two, she had managed to get right up behind him before he actually sensed her more than heard her, and even that, it's not too bad. He's fairly skilled at these kinds of things, so for somebody to get that close, modicum of respect, and also curiosity. So he conversed with her, asked her where she'd come from. Apparently she'd lived here her entire life. She had been a slave. Her parents had been killed somewhere. He didn't really care enough to ask where, why, or how, but he did get the general sense that she had a good head on her shoulders and that she had escaped her slave master, whether through him dying or just by getting away from him. Again, it didn't really matter. He did mention this, and he could tell by the kind of sour expression on her face that she didn't really care for his views probably on slavery, of which were, oh well, you shouldn't, if you don't want to be a slave, don't be caught and put into one, or don't be a lesser race. But he doesn't say that because they can't really help the way they were born. So as they converse, he finds out this little Bosmer, his name is Bree, and she has been doing this for some time, surviving on her own, making enough to eat, but not enough to live within the city. She sleeps out in the wilderness under wild mushrooms, which in Vardenfell aren't really that big of a deal because they are massive and can really defend you from rain or ash storms or anything out there. Of course, the only thing they can't defend you from are wild animals, giant bugs, and anything that would probably tear you limb for limb for a snack. So he had let her know that you now work for me. Here's maybe double what you might make in a week. From now on, you'll no longer steal. You'll no longer to do the things that you have been doing. Now, keep nimble, but here's what you're going to do from now on. You're going to go, as you are, to nobles, to holy men, to anybody that looks like they are of importance, or perhaps that they may have some knowledge, and you'll just to be near them. Don't linger too long, but if you hear of anything interesting or special, I will expect to hear it from you. And in exchange, if you do this for a period of time, perhaps there will be more work and more training for you. Now run along. Here's a key to a safe house I have nearby. I don't use it very often. It's not really even considered a house. It's really more of a giant closet with a bed, but it's got food, water, and a place to put your leavings, so to speak. So I will be checking on you shortly. Do try not to get caught. And that was pretty much all I did. There was a few other things throughout the week, but that was the big one. That was the one that I had fun with and really kind of stuck out. So that's the one I decided to pick a story on. So that's what I did in roleplay. And that was with Yunfei's new character, which she is still trying to figure out, so we're rolling back and forth on that. Or not rolling, but she is. She's like, I want to do this. No, wait, no this. Wait, no this. Okay, this is her name now. It was originally Alice, now it's Bree. She suffers from what I suffer from, which is a distinct and dislike of almost any alt. So, yeah. She's trying to basically kind of, and I'm proud of myself. In ESO, I've got 2 alts that I play on regularly. Yeah. Kenix and Tarvala. That's a record impressive for me.
Yes, that is.
Compared to the rest of you, I think you've got 14 different accounts with 8 each. So, Jazz, I'm looking at you.
Not yet.
Sib is catching up.
We have 1 account.
She's catching up.
1 account.
So, all right. Well, with that, I believe we have the word from our sponsor. If Sib, you want to hit it off.
Oh, hello. You must be our newbie. What's your name?
Death Dagger 69.
Okay. Death. Yeah, I'm calling you Death. Come along. We got lots to do. Here, take this.
What? I mean, what is this? Is a slash and a E?
How else do you plan on emoting? Really? All real role players use /E.
Oh. So you mean like /E, I walk into the room?
Yeah, that's good. Very nicely done, Death.
Or like maybe /E, touch your boobies?
Whoa. Wait just a second there, newbie. You have to attempt touching my boobs. You always have to attempt.
Oh, okay. So like, /E, I attempt to touch your boobs, and kiss you passionately.
Yeah. And I would be like, /E slaps hands and roll dodges that kiss.
What? Why wouldn't you want to make out with me? I'm like a half vampire werewolf hunter, born with ancestral dragon's blood. I'm a master of the magical arts, as well as a master assassin. I can wield any weapon with perfect proficiency. I have no flaws.
That's why.
Oh. This reminder is brought to you by the letters /E and a word, attempting. /E attempting means you never have to pull back a nub, be disemboweled, lose an eye, be eaten alive, having triplets, or being known as the creepy wanker that doesn't know what the actual fuck he's doing. The end.
Oh my God.
No true. All of it. All true.
All true. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. You did good, hon. You did good. She did that one.
That was very nice.
Yeah, I was proud of her. I was proud of her.
I'm trying to be helpful. I always try to be helpful.
Oh, apparently it was too realistic, Sib. People are unfollowing now.
What?
Yeah, we lost them. We lost them. But did we... If we love them, don't we have to let them go and then shoot them at about 100 yards as a moving target?
As they're running away. Yeah.
Just shoot them.
That's right. Human hunting. All right.
Woo!
Yeah.
I got the horn. Get the dogs. I had a vision of all of us riding around with little cute hats.
Those red sports jackets and those like white pants with the black black horse riding shoes.
You're doing it wrong. It must be just so.
Just so. Good for you, sir. Just so. That's right. After this, we'll all have a brandy, and we'll mount his head on a pike.
Ooh, that got dark.
Oh, the truth, Bob. You're so bad. You make it sound like human hunting is a bad thing.
Not if you're a dark elf. High five, Truth Bob. High five. All right, so our main topic. We've kind of we hit this a little bit back in episode 3, or as we like to call it, the dark days.
Yes.
Yes. Now,
we had lots of echoes.
Lots of echoing. The show was an hour long. It was a literal shit show. But Sibh'Bae had actually, and Sib both actually kind of wanted to hit this again.
We didn't have our 2 cool new hosts either, Sibh'Bae and Kishmas.
I thought you said cool.
I think they're cool.
That says more about you than it does about them.
Hey, man. They all think I'm cool. You're the guy that doesn't think I'm. There might be a problem with you, bro.
My mom thinks I'm cool. She says I'm handsome.
She has to.
She's obligated.
That's right.
My mom wouldn't lie to me. I'm pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, and we have Sibh'Bae. Kishmas will actually, once he's, like I said, he actually will be along shortly. He's, the typical thing, having to work, which, trust me, I think he hates it more than we do, and I feel actually my heart goes out to him because having to work, just in general, sucks. I mean, I can't wait till we get to the Star Trek dystopia, and then I could just have my food created out of air. I don't know how that works, but whatever.
Plant gardens and not have to worry about paying bills.
Play video games all day and be fun. I mean, let's be honest. My ideal society was in the Disney one with the robot
Wall-E.
Wall-E. That was my ideal society. Everybody looked the same. They all had hover chairs. They played video games all day. They drank everything in a form of a shake.
I knew you were going to say Wall-E.
It does explain the growth of your moves, bro. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Hey, I have a respectable B cup. Another few cup sizes. I'm not going to need Sib anymore.
You won't need me anymore. Oh my God, that's so mean.
I'll have to find somebody else that needs.
I love you,
a
bro.
I know. See, that's the difference. She says that we're so mean. To guys, it's just like, yeah, that was a good one. Now cut your hair, you fucking hippie.
Already did.
Damn it.
I'm ahead of the curve, noob.
Oh.
Why don't you respect me?
Because you kicked me out one time, told me to come to the office of the box, then you brought me back for lesser pay, which is nothing.
Right.
But hey,
Yeah,
I don't hold no grudge.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm paying every single one of you. Let's see, carry the 1, divide by 4, times 0. Okay, yeah, it's still 0. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
I get what I pay.
Yeah, I got a negative
God.
on my 0, but they didn't yet. So
Yeah, you're negative 0. You're Kishmas when he rolls with a negative 1 and then rolls a 1 in RP and for the first time actually rolls a 0 in roleplay.
I don't think that's possible, is it?
Well, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm just going to do it for him.
Well, I certainly felt like I was rolling.
His
a 1
character,
half the
Roger,
time.
hadn't been out in the field, so as I started the event, he's like, hey, dude, just give me I'm going to take a negative 1 on all my rolls because he's rusty. It's like, okay, no problem. First time he needs to roll something, he rolls a 1. Minus 1 is 0.
Oh.
So he rolled a 0.
I see. Okay. That's fantastic.
But yeah, with you guys here and Sib and Sibh'Bae thought it actually would be probably a good idea to kind of go over and help go over the creating your character, being newbie stuff again. We're going to go have a little more detail on it this time because we don't have the entire show done in an hour, which, half an hour of that was us just, I don't even know what we were doing back then, trying to figure out how sound worked, I think.
Yeah. And how our mics worked and how,
man, it was awful. But
Mic
for this...
discipline. Mic discipline.
Yeah,
I heard
mic
that
discipline.
so much time.
Yeah.
So many times. I was like, mic discipline.
Yep. Keep your mouth 3 to 6 inches away from the microphone. Don't trail off like this.
which is really easy to do when you're used to doing it. You have to be careful.
Jazz, I'm looking at you.
I know. I am horrible about
You're
that.
really bad about doing that.
Yes, I am.
So, but I'm gonna since they came up with this and they actually wrote all these out, I'm gonna let them take us. I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna let you guys steer the boat. I mean, I'll make my comments. Don't worry about that. That's just,
yeah,
I'll be
as if we
here
could stop you.
If you'll be here if you screw this up. I swear to God, I'll just come at you like a hurricane of teeth and nails. So help me. So with that, guys, take it away. What's number 1?
Mr. Faye, you want to go first?
Wow.
Sure, let me pull it up.
Just
Here, I'll go first since you got to pull it up.
oh,
Okay,
dear
ready?
God, here we go.
First time entering the roleplay community when you know nothing. We've all been there. And yes, when you're a first time going into any type of roleplay event, whether it be a planned one, an open world one, a tavern one, it is very intimidating because you walk in and you see, well, if it's like an event or a tavern, more than likely you're going to see like scrolling text, which I know when I first started, it was tough because I was like, I can't even focus, to see who I'm talking to, who's talking to me.
You get halfway through reading a sentence, and then that sentence is 4 sentences above where it was just a second ago.
Yeah.
Wait, slow down, sentence, come back.
In my case,
you're responding like
Oh, go
way
ahead,
low.
Sibby, sorry.
I was going to say, and when you try to respond, yours is like the whole nother page scroll down. So it is intimidating, and you have to be kind of prepared for it.
Impatient with yourself as much as anybody else.
And it is important. I think a trick that I've told a lot of new role players is to just, when you look at your screen where your chat is, to just put your mouse over it and scroll up just a little so that it's no longer scrolling on its own.
Mm.
And then you can scroll at the rate you read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's not as overwhelming. And a lot of people don't realize they can do that, or they don't realize the game is set up that way so that they can control the chat scroll. I had to do that when I bartended in a full bar back when I did that. I often had to do that because otherwise I couldn't keep track of every order. There was no way. So I had to just scroll of my own speed. And I read really fast. I can't imagine for people who, you know, read really slowly.
Humble brag.
What in the world? No. What
Humble bragging.
You be quiet. It's important to help those that don't read as fast because I learned to speed read young. So that's a difference. A lot of people, they don't teach that anymore in school.
And I will say, I read pretty fast, but it's a totally different reading whenever you go into RPing because you're trying to read people's names, what they're emoting, what they're saying, and you're trying to keep up with, you know, if you're having a conversation with one person, you're trying to read through everything as it scrolls. And it's very intimidating because I love to read.
Yeah, and my first experience of this was SWG. We'd just gone through and PvP and destroyed some rebels. We always went to this roleplay bar. I don't know why we went there. Probably because the girls were dancing and they were nice to us. And I would sit there and watch, and suddenly I got this tell on nowhere. It's like, hey, are you going to answer me? I'm like, who the crap is this guy? And I would scroll up, and it was one of the dancer girls. I was like, oh, hey, yeah. And then I slowly realized you had to pay attention to that mad scrolling of nothing. Otherwise, we were in guild chat talking amongst each other. But once I realized, hey, that's the thing, you start reading it like, dude, these people are having a little party in here, and we're missing out. Which is real important to slow it down so you don't miss anything that happens.
Yeah, like Jazz said, mouse over it and slow it to where you know, how fast you want to go, not how fast, you know, the chat's going.
And, you know, if people have to wait a little bit, that's okay.
Yeah.
And if somebody gives you crap about it, you say that. Look, I'm
doing
learning.
my best.
Just give me a minute.
Also,
And I was terrible at that when I
make a
was
separate
starting.
chat. Most games you can make a separate tab. If you need to, make sure you obviously you definitely take out zone chat because that's garbage to begin with. But also, if it gets intense enough, even have one where none of your guild chat will come, where it's literally just say, emotes, and tells. Because you still want to leave your tells on just in case, you know, like Sibh'Bae said, like, hey, are you going to answer me? And if you miss something still. But I've definitely got a chat. You have to use it too often, but there's times I just switch over to it just because it makes it it's just a few lines less of text, especially if your guild starts to yammer on, which happens, you know, it's not their fault. But if they're really just chatting away, that's that many more lines of text scrolling by that you don't have time to keep up with.
He's absolutely right. And I mean, I did learn to read quicker because of that and type faster. It came hand in hand. But I totally had to move guild chat into another tab back in the day because I just could not deal with them trolling and then trying to pay attention to them telling a story.
Yeah.
It's helpful to split it up.
Yeah, and even if you have to, if somebody's trying to chat with you and you aren't, you know, able to keep up, send them a tell. Say, hey, I'm new to this. I'm a little slower than, you know, I'm slow. I'm intimidated. Please be patient with me. And most RPers are going to be like, oh, cool. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. No problem.
Yeah, they appreciate that.
You know, and they will slow it down, you know, and, you know, it just don't worry to say, or don't be scared to say anything or worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are those few that won't tolerate you because you are a slow typer.
There are always people like that. When I first started, I was one of those people because I would get very frustrated. I didn't really grasp that other people typed as slow as they do. And that's just because, no, it's, stop doing that.
I wish I had something to throw at him. Because I
really felt bad when I realized that. And one of the people that turned out to be one of the best role players that I've ever ran with, other than Sibh'Bae and a couple of others, was played Greiger. And you remember him. And
they love me. I'm just saying. Shameless plug.
He couldn't read very fast, and scroll was horrible, and he typed with 2 fingers. So he was trying to keep up with us, and we'd all been role-playing together for a while by the time he wandered in and started role-playing with us. He thought we were all speaking French, which was really funny later. And I still rib him to this day about that. He thought that the drow that we were speaking was French.
Oh.
He thought he'd accidentally
obviously-
joined a French roleplay guild.
French guild.
Obviously, Jazz, he's a noob because I type with 2 fingers. I'm really quick at it, but I learned that from EverQuest 1, and I was junior high doing that, so it's what it is.
And then he joined college. He went to college and learned how to type much faster. And plus, he got tired of the wait, because you would say waits for a response or whatever. I used to do that to let people know that I was,
waiting.
I was waiting that I had posted something, because they missed my posts sometimes. So I'd say waits for a response. They'd scroll up and see my question, and then they could answer it. So he was always appalled that I'd get the waiting comment. And then one day he realized it wasn't French because someone mentioned drow, and he was like, "What's that?" And he goes, it's what the dark elves speak.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait, is that what Vendui is? They're like, yeah, what'd you think it was? And he was like, I am such an idiot.
That being said, yeah, we still love the dude. We just got to pick on him. 'Cause
Yeah, we had to pick on him. It was really funny when he told us that. I just fell out of my chair. It was hilarious. Because I'm a mean, horrible person. So.
Gry, you're still new, bro.
Yeah, Gry, we love you. But it was really funny. That was just awesome. But it did teach me that, you need to be more patient. And that's not easy. I'm not a patient person usually. So
I've talked to your kids. We're aware. All right. So what's the next one you guys got?
Did you get it pulled up, Straffe?
Yeah, I had to remember I'm pushed to type.
Oh.
Oh.
Right. So your first foot in the door at your local RP community. The good, the bad, and often ugly.
Go on.
Anybody? I was going to say, my first foray into RP was with this horrible mercenary guild that were all rebels, but secretly pretended they weren't rebels. I found this out when they did a duel with their leader, and he killed me, and I lost faction, which means he was a rebel.
Oh, no.
I shamelessly clung to these guys because they did offer roleplay, even though they hated my guts, and it was ugly. But suffice to say, I learned a lot. And I did get my foot in the door because then other role players, because they knew I'd interact with them, suddenly they knew of me, even though I never met them. Rather. Oh, kind of tired. Sorry.
It's all right.
And so that opened up avenues for that tavern every Wednesday. The band that played there, I think they were called the Creedles. I mean, it was a cool deal, and it just kept opening up doors. When I got to EverQuest 2, I kind of knew the deal, how to get into the RP scene.
The lay of the land.
So sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. In my case, it was pretty ugly.
Yeah. Anybody?
Let's see. I had done a lot of roleplay in D&D, and I'd done a lot of LARP and stuff, but when I first started playing MMOs with my husband, we joined a roleplay guild, and I was really, I know this is hard to believe, shy. I did not know how to approach this until I approached it like a D&D player, which is I rolled up a character and I started rolling for all of my decisions because I could never make up my mind what my character would do. So I started using dice to do that with. That's when that started. I fell back on what I knew, which was D&D. And I sat around a lot, and I've talked about this before, on various characters over the years, and particularly this first one, and would just write in her diary. And while she was doing that, I was taking notes. On characters' names, who they're married to, who they hate, who's assassinating who, all the details. And that carried over when I started role-playing Baka. It became what she was. She was an intel seller. So it worked. But that was how it started for me. It wasn't hard for me. It was just embarrassing for me. I doubt anybody else knew. But for me, it was crushing for me.
I think there is a certain level of that. Like when I was a little kid, like we played pretend. I played G.I. Joes, Legos, blah blah blah. But and I do that with my friends. When we were like 9 years old, 10 years old, and stuff like that. And it was always fun, but we had to do it with the door closed because it's embarrassing. Like when your parents would walk in or they'd bust in, it frees the entire creative process. Like. It's so, there's a level of kind of embarrassment. And when it comes to role-playing in a game, there is, especially at the beginning, I can see why people feel like that. They feel, they're shy, they're not real confident, they know it's kind of nerdy and dorky and geeky, but they're interested, and they're, it's a whole new, it's literally opens a whole new door and a whole new world to people. And that can be both, aside from intimidating, it could be a little embarrassing. Like, I mean, how often do a lot of people, if you go out there and you go to work and you're like, what'd you do over the weekend? You're like, yeah, I watched the football game and went to, watched some NASCAR. Or, nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody thinks anything of it. But when you feel like, I played video games and I role-played my Dark Elf.
Me and my friends got together and we stormed the keep of Alcabor and we got a scroll of amazingness. They look at you like you're a space alien.
I got rolled over in Crushbone Keep. All right, well, we're done talking. I got nothing in common. But now, and that was back in the day. Although today it's not the same. Like, when it comes to things like Dragon Ball Z or anime or movies, like the nerd culture and pop culture, it's part of the pop culture now. It's not a subset of culture like a nerd culture. It really is pop culture. So people have really, with the internet being more than what it was back in the day, these kinds of things, they don't really mean what they used to, but they still have that stigma to them. And I can understand why, when you first start out in this, that you could be a little unsure. You could be a little weirded out, and you don't know the lay of the land, and you hear of things like furries and bronies, and you're like, ERP is like, is this all everyone does? And the answer to that is yes. That's pretty much 90% of it.
Largely.
But the other 10% is really cool. No.
Yes.
But,
exactly. It's about 10%. It really is. I would say 10% of the role players are actually serious role players.
Yeah. I tried going to the roleplay forum on Reddit for the show.
Yeah. Did you get scarred?
It was an interesting read, especially when I learned about this program called Kick. There's a roleplay subforum called Roleplay Kick, and it's basically, it's everything from like wanting to roleplay in the Doctor Who universe, Doctor Who to like old Transformers to butt fucking My Little Pony. It's anywhere in between there. It's a mixed bag.
Bro, that's terrifying, but yes.
Right, but it's all on there, and it was an interesting read, and I mean, I get it. If that's what that's why we deal with roleplay and MMOs. It's a specific genre, which is, it might be a little bit more limiting, and we can branch out to other stuff, but MMOs is where our roleplay bread and butter is at. We like playing the games, for one, and having a world where you can pretend to be in that world that you can virtually see is don't get me wrong, I love using my imagination, but sometimes just seeing shit right in front of you, a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely.
It's why Harry Potter did so well as a movie and a book. People liked seeing what they saw, imagined in the book, realized in real life.
It is scary when you do start out. I mean, I remember watching these folks go, man, that's kind of cool. They're pretending to be like in the Star Wars game, not just
they're
running around killing rebels because it's one of my buddies.
They're living Star Wars. Yeah.
And there's like no way to talk to them because I already had a reputation, the guild I was in, of just being running around trolling role players and killing rebels, and that's what it was. So then to give me a chance, like I was terrified they were gonna like totally hose me like we used to hose role players, but no, they didn't. They let me in. And I mean, sometimes all you got to do is just go for that first leap.
Yeah. All right. So what you guys got for number 3 now?
Yeah. You want to read it or you want me to read it?
Just bounce back and forth so it'd be Sib. And
let's skip number 3 and go to number 4 just because what we left on number 2.
Okay.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try something new. Which is kind of what number 2, how we kind of led into that.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
And it's always good just to kind of step out of your comfort zone.
So far, it's been fun for me. So
yeah, I never thought I could do anything like role play, but I kind of took that leap when I met Ashen, and yeah, it really opened my eyes because I never even knew the world existed, the role-playing world. I no clue whatsoever. I didn't even realize MMORPG games existed.
You married the Lord of the Nerds, darling.
Oh,
I know.
Emperor.
Yes. Okay,
Well,
fair
it was
enough.
funny
If you're gonna
'cause-
be Emperor, I'll be your Vader. It'll be
That's
great.
right.
I played console
it.
games.
Yeah,
I
she was
love
already.
that.
She had the inklings there. She just. She. He was go out and camping kind of guy. Didn't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I used to get in trouble because I would sit at home, take care of the kids, and play
On your
video
day
games.
off, yeah, no
And-
less.
Yeah, no, I didn't work at that time.
Oh, okay.
But I would play video games, and I loved it. And then,
She was really
I
good at
kinda
Halo.
get- yeah, I'd get in trouble.
How? Yeah, I was gonna say you got to tell that how you used to get in trouble for playing Halo because you were just better at it than him.
Yeah, he would get so upset because I would kick his butt. He wouldn't want to play with me.
That's awesome. I love it.
And then she
So-
met me, and she's never won a game since.
That's a lie. That's a liar. Let's just put it this way. Without me, a lot of those games that we played together, you wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, that's only because
I
I
was
needed a
the
healer.
healer. Yeah, that's right.
That's why I married you. I needed a healer.
There you go.
But no,
The marriage is a
don't
lie.
be
All I
afraid.
need is heals.
don't be afraid to take a step out of your comfort zone.
Well, I mean,
You
my
know?
best character in my entire life that I've played so far in roleplay across every genre possible was Vaca, and that was a complete outside my comfort zone. I cannot do this. This is stupid.
Mhm.
Yes, let
Adventure.
it die. Let it die.
What?
Nothing. I didn't hear nothing.
Well, yeah. And
But
but
Are we speaking in blips now?
no, I was
I
just
guess
waiting
so.
for somebody to continue on.
well, you, like cut Jazz off again.
That was Straffe that cut
Jazz,
Jazz off.
I was just trolling. Go ahead. We love Vacarina.
No, it's fine.
No,
Um,
and
It's totally not fun.
would you have ever thought you would have been running
Yeah, I was gonna
guild?
say you went from
like?
what
yeah,
you were
I
just
mean,
saying to
honestly-
running a
Oh
guild.
no! When I came to end, when I told Jay that I wanted to take Toyana and I wanted to go to the roleplay server, Jay's response was, "You know, the only thing that's there are crazy people."
He's not wrong.
And I was, he's not wrong, but he was like, you don't want to go there. Just roleplay with us. It'll be fine. And I'm like, I really want to try it. So I took Toyana. I transferred her to the roleplay server. And while she's fun, she's an incredibly happy, bouncy character for the most part. And she has a very niche kind of, she was a slave. And I didn't like doing ERP all the time. So I needed a different character, and I rolled up a character, which was Vaca. And then I rolled whether, her race. I rolled if she had any special gifts, and I hit the freaking jackpot because of what she was. And I was like, I can't do this, because Jay was helping me roll it up. He was encouraging me to do it, and he helped me roll Vaca up. And I was like, I can't play this character. I don't do immortals. This is dumb. And he was like, come on, you can do it. It'll be fun. And, after I played her for a while, and he came and started role-playing with me with one of his characters whose name was, and he made a character specifically to troll the role players. His name was supposed to be Triton, Trite and, what's the phrase? Triton Boring. His name was going to be Triton Boring. That was going to
That's
be the
hilarious.
name. And instead, because
What a bro.
yeah, so he got to level 20 and realized he really did enjoy role-playing there, so he named him Triton Lefebvre. But he originally was going to have the last name Boring, spelled funny, but boring,
Yeah.
so Triton Boring. And we made the guild because I couldn't find a dark roleplay guild at all. The only dark roleplay guilds that there were all dark elves, and at the time, they wouldn't have let Triton in.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't a dark elf. And I was like, well, that's dumb. Now I understood later why that was. But at the time, I really hadn't involved in the lore yet. So, but yeah, I would never. And the same thing is for Zashel. I'm way outside my comfort zone with this religious zealot. So, it's important because you meet new people, you have new experiences. It challenges your ability to role play a character. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now you want to hit number 3?
Sure.
Since she just walked into the name thing.
Yeah.
Before
Man,
you read
this
it,
is easy.
there's a little tag on.
Mhm.
I was playing good RP in EQ2 back then, and I only made ring gods out of anger for the people I was role-playing with because they had done my character completely dirty. It was my tune's wife at the time. She had gone and cheated on with somebody else, and I said, you know what? It's time to play a Dark Elf. I was so full of rage, I made Ren, and I wasn't used to playing the evil side of roleplay, but boy howdy did I take to it like a duck to water. It was freaking ridiculous.
Yeah,
And then Jazz found me, and then the rest is history. So, yeah, don't be afraid to do something new. Even if you don't think you can do it, you can. Trust me.
Just so, just so.
All right, so what's number 3? Sib.
I read the last one.
All right, fine. Number 3.
Man.
I like the little...
well-oiled machine.
What's in a name? Specifically, your first character name. Your first attempt is often bad only out of ignorance.
Hey.
In my case...
Goku-O-Sun was a solid character when I made him in EverQuest 1.
My first character was Jasmine something, so I was, not far out of my comfort zone with that name.
Sibh'Bae.
The days of Nexus TK, top-down, cartoony-looking, anime-ish, South Korean MMO.
Oh, Jesus.
I had a
remember
tune.
now. Sorry.
Now, do you remember
it? I was racking my brain like, wait, which one was that? Oh, yeah, I remember.
Those are the days of Final Fantasy VII. I was really into Final Fantasy VII. Of course, I was also like 14,
Yeah,
15,
you gotta be
somewhere in
teenager.
there. So my tune was the classic mistake. I did the X Sephiroth X. I was one of those guys for a while. And now, man, did I learn.
Oh,
But
man. You gotta start
you
somewhere, right?
You gotta start somewhere, and the glory, the only silver lining of that whole mess was I played with my buddies from school, so they all had ridiculous names.
Right.
We just kind of role played amongst the 4 of us,
Well, and
3
at
of us.
that
whatever we
age, I
were.
mean, yeah, that's 20 years removed or so now, give or take. It's. I remember when that stuff came out too, and it was all, of course, ridiculous. Everything you thought was so cool, then you look back now like, God, I was a moron.
Yeah.
No, Sephiroth is still cool.
Oh no, Sephiroth's still cool, but you playing as him is just like, God, what the?
I realize now why people weren't talking to me in the other community,
Right.
the rest of that game, and I was like, oh, okay,
That
I
makes
was an idiot.
sense.
That's why.
Yeah.
But I think you all do it. Everybody, like you,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like that promo ad. I'm Death Dagger 673.
Yeah, I know.
69, dude, 69. Death Dagger 69, yeah.
Dark and dangerous.
Why do you take me seriously? I don't feel
But I do
like
have a
we
good
talk
example.
anymore.
Of someone who transcends their bad name that we all love and adore. So, back in EQ2, we had someone named Night Fury.
Oh, yes.
And that's not a name you could typically take seriously for roleplay. But once you get to know her, you realize that she had kind of grown and adapted and learned and had actually changed her name during the course of it. Jazz is better suited to tell that story, but that's one of the things I remember from EQ2
when
early on.
she came to us with another character that had bumped into us in roleplay, and she came along with him. She was very quiet. And I very quietly told her, Night Fury really isn't a roleplay name. And she says, well, actually, her name is Cyania. And I was like, well, that's a really good name. But this was before name changes. So,
right. It was just really a newer,
so it was in there. So I said,
6-7 years now.
Yeah. Put your RP name in your profile. That way people know. And she goes,
I
that's a really
miss
good
those.
idea. Yeah, I do too. So she did that, and she turned out to be one of the best role players I've ever known. So you can't always judge someone when they first start out. You have to give them a break and talk to them.
Because they, especially when they're
Always
brand
judge a
new.
book by its title.
Yeah, you can't. You have to, and like Wrong Way. Remember Wrong Way?
Remember
Wrong
Wrong
Way
Way.
was wonderful, and he came to us. He was a very new role player, and he role played in his head canon, but he didn't ever role play with anyone else. And he named his character wrong way because he was always getting lost, the character. That was kind of his idea.
Yeah.
But most people would look at that and say, what a dumb name.
It's not a role play name, yeah.
Right. But it fit. It fit his character when he explained. And he turned out to be one of the best role players I'd ever known.
Yeah.
So one by one, we crossed all paths with all these new role players that turned into these amazing role players.
And that's one thing. Some people, you know, and these days if somebody creates their character and they're like, they have no intention of role playing and they don't even know what it is, and then they get into it and their character's not really lore friendly. These days, you know, $5-10 you could change that. Back then, or you could even re-roll if you really, really want to. But back then, yeah, it was, you don't want to, re-rolling wasn't really an option in a high level character
these
back
people,
then.
It
Years
took forever.
to get, it wasn't like these days where like in 2 weeks you could be a max level character.
Right, but back then it was some serious work to get to max, and
But you do learn over time, especially as a new role player, because I evolved from Sephiroth X to Strafe, and then it turned to Strophe. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to EQ2, because I had reused the name in Galaxies, I was now Tristari Swiftleaf because I got it. I figured it out. I was like, okay, so if you want to be taken seriously, come up with something neat and original. Think about it.
Yeah, something that's actually a name instead of like a nickname, basically.
And not like Super Ranger 374.
Right. Yeah. Or Strophe, the pretty face Strophe, or something like that. Although that would work in probably work in Secret World if you were in the mob.
Well, in Galaxies, like it evolved. So EQ1 it was Strafe, and then EQ2 it was not EQ2 but Galaxies it was Strophe Valentine, and I was a dirty Imperial Colonel.
Was Valentine off of Vincent?
I think it was. Yes. I don't really remember, but it probably was because I was still into that game then.
Still into Final Fantasy 14 or 7. Yeah.
I know. It's funny because when I try to come up with names for my characters, since I'm a mailman, I see names all day long. So I sit there and try to put names together. You know, if I see somebody's name that's interesting, I'll be like, oh, I like that. That's how
Mailman or mail babe? Only Ashen can tell us.
But that's how I came up with Sibh'Bae. Somebody's name was, can't remember the first part, but I know the last name of somebody I saw, and it was Bae, B-A-E. And I was like, oh, I like that. And then I saw something else that had Sib in it. And I was like, Sibh'Bae, that's perfect. I like that. So that's how I kind of came up with that one. I had another character, Halan, which wasn't off my mail route, but it was one of my favorite characters in a book. His name was Lon. And so it was L-A-N. So I added the H-L and came up with Halan. So
yeah.
It's fun to come up with names. Sometimes it's challenging, but a lot of times it's fun.
It is, and you grow from it, from the original newbie-ish to the seasoned role player.
Yeah, and it can happen pretty quick, you know. It's just the amount of time and energy and willingness you are to take advice from, you know, people that have been around the block and reading on forums. So
my little brother's so bad about it now, he'll see bad names, he puts them on instant ignore.
Oh, does he?
So, oh, yeah, he's one of those guys. He's like, nope, not replaying with you. Nope. Off.
I give him a chance.
Yeah, you should give him a chance, but Seth, no, he can fill up his ignore list within an hour. A.K.A. the Wackachodo.
The Wackachodo. So what you got for number 5 now?
Number 5. Oh, this kind of goes back into don't be afraid to try something new. And it's don't be afraid to try something new, but don't go flying overboard too. There's a happy medium between these two. Maybe start small and build up to something, you know, crazy.
Here.
Baby steps.
Yeah. Try something new in baby steps. I know when I started performing, I would have never, ever thought I could do something like that in an MMO. And we would go to Maiden's Fancy in EQ2, and I watched some of the girls that had been performing for a long time, and I thought, I want to try it. So I started small, and I loved it. I really, it was so much fun, and it's not anything I would ever try to do myself. but I would start out with small songs, and then I would get more descriptive, and basically I'd go overboard. But people enjoyed it. They said they did, and I had fun. So, whatever your cup of tea is, start small, but eventually, you're going to be able to do whatever you want. Once you get that confidence built up,
Yeah.
in time, be patient.
Just be patient.
Yeah.
It really is role-playing really is a learned skill. I got a gnat on my screen. Okay, that's
You got
annoying.
a what?
A gnat. It's summer here. I don't know if anyone's realized that summer's here, and it's with summer comes bugs. Stupid bugs. But yeah, you just just be patient. Gotta learn it.
Yeah. Build your confidence. Learn who you're RPing with, and how far the bounds are. I mean, some people, like that one group Jazz it's talked about, they won't let you participate at all. That's your bounds. That's all you get. You get to stand there and be the lampshade in the corner. That's it. And then there's some people that will let you jump in and be a part of the show or be a part of the event and take a big role. And if you're comfortable, do it.
Yeah, and I think, and just on a newbie perspective, when you're doing that stuff, anybody that just all they do is criticize and and they just tell you everything you're doing wrong without ever, and that's it. Probably not a great group of role players that you're with. Anybody that's really trying to help somebody out, yeah, you're going to get criticism. You're going to, you should always be able to take criticism if something's not going the way you had meant it to. But with that should also come ways to improve that. If something, hey, you can't just, you can't not attempt that. You actually have to attempt to touch her boobs, dude. You can't just say that you're grabbing her. For one, you'll end up, like Morgan Freeman. And you don't want to be Morgan Freeman. Apparently now that's a bad thing. I don't know about that one. He seems like
I don't know either.
That one seems a little.
But I love Morgan Freeman.
I do love
I was
Morgan
gonna say,
Freeman.
why are you trying to take my Morgan Freeman away from me?
Don't blame me. Blame the people accusing him now of being old. I guess. I think people forget what our old men are like.
Let's move on to 6.
You just ruin her. You're a
That's
ruiner.
when he realized he done fucked up. But yeah, you just gotta, you tell them, you can't just do that. You need to attempt that. It's letting them know that what they did was wrong, but you're also letting them know how to correct it in the future. And if you're in a guild of people that do that, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be in someone that just says everything. No, Jazz. What? Jazz.
Hey,
Jazz. You need to.
Hey,
Jazz,
you're jumping ahead.
Jazz. I'm not even reading the thing.
You just fell into number 6, okay?
Jazz.
You just fell into number 6. Knees deep.
Jazz.
You are knees deep in number 6 right now.
The number
I am
6.
balls deep in number 6 right now.
Oh,
I was
that's
being
not
nice.
No,
I was
you're
being
bad.
I said knees, okay?
I heard it differently.
So number 6, find a solid group and don't just settle for the first group of RPers you bump into. Most communities are bigger than you realize. Trust it from someone that had no clue. And I agree with her because I was also someone that had no clue with those horrible mercenaries that would threaten to take all my RP away in the community if I didn't just go along and apologize. It was horrible crap.
Did they really do that?
It is true. Yes, there are actually a lot of roleplay groups that I've bumped into that do that.
Wow. This must be the same assholes that run the MMORPG forums on Reddit too. By the way, of which we're banned from.
Are we banned?
My shocked face.
Yeah, they're troll. They're fucking idiots over there. Just because
Why
it's
did you get banned?
Oh, because I was like, hey, this is a show you might like. And, 70-something upvotes later, they're like, you can't self-promote here. It's like, actually, your thing said you can as long as it was not YouTube, this or that. It doesn't say anything about a podcast. And I never heard anything back from them.
So you got us banned.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's Reddit who, gives a fuck.
I
mean,
recently signed up
right?
for Reddit and started reading it, and then I unsigned up because I was like, wow, this is crap.
Yeah,
I am done.
I actually have a few plans for Reddit, whatever they happen, but you can't do anything until you've been there for like a month. So we'll see. I'll let everybody know when that's going to happen. But yeah, the people that run the MMORPG apparently have their heads so far up their ass. So hey, just a quick shout out. If anybody actually wants to promote the show for us on MMORPG subreddit, feel free to, because you're allowed to do that. I can't do it because it's self-promotion, but if somebody else promotes the show and creates a thread, you're perfectly okay. And I personally think that would be awesome of you to do that, just to shove it up Nick's pee hole.
Anyway,
Oh,
so
anyway,
find a solid group, and they're out there. Trust me, they're out there.
it's important to shop around. It's important
Yeah.
to go to RP events.
just like in marriage and in relationships, don't settle on the first one that comes along. Trust me, it ends poorly.
No matter how big their boobs are,
Or in my
don't
case,
settle.
or they were small, very, very, very
Don't
tiny.
settle.
Don't.
So you're saying you got a major upgrade, Ashen?
I did, yeah. When and I don't. The size isn't so much the problem as it was the attitude about them. Where if I looked at another woman that was bigger, I was in trouble. Even though it's like, I don't know if anyone was aware of this. 51% of the population female.
I think we call that insecure.
Yeah, a little bit. She was a pain in the ass.
But yes, those role players were horrible, and the guild leader ended up stealing my real life girlfriend. It was a pretty bad deal for a while there.
Ugh.
So there are bad groups and there's good groups. Shop around, you will find the good folks.
Go to roleplay events. There's always some. Then there's the roleplay, the places that
Forums,
are
Discords. There's
forums,
so
Discords,
many
all
places.
of that. Do keep in mind that most of the people that run them
Have a god complex.
Yes. I don't know why. I've run one and people never come to mind because I guess I'm not bitchy enough. But go there the only thing I use those forums for is simply to find roleplay events.
Mm-hmm.
Find
They're
those
really good
roleplay
at that,
events.
yeah.
Yes. Go to those roleplay events and start paying. Now, unfortunately, in ESO, this is harder to do because you can't see guilds unless they're wearing a tabard. But
Yeah.
Which
sucks.
which looks awful, so nobody wears the tabard.
well, I use my costume over it, and you can't see it. So
that's
true. That's
I wear my tabard, and then I put my costume over it, and then nobody can see the tabard, and they can see my guild name. So it's harder to do that here but if you meet somebody that you really like the way they roleplay, and you guys really kick it off, and you really like them, say, hey, dude, do you belong in a roleplay guild? And if they say yes, then you can give that guild a try. If they say no, let's look for one together, then you've now got a party. So start looking for role players that you like and that you get along with, and then look for a guild that they like. And that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
And if you're
Stay away from the dirtbags for sure.
And if you join the guild like Sibh'Bae was in, and they're like, we're gonna ruin.
Oh, I didn't join it.
Well, you know what I mean. If you're role playing with them and whatever, and they're like, we're gonna ruin, and then you're like, well, you're role playing with them, like you start meeting other people, and you're like, well, these guys don't seem anything like these assholes over here. Don't be afraid to bail, because it's, again, you're not in a committed relationship. There's no ring on that finger.
Nope. Guilds come and go.
Guilds are disposable. They're
like
they come
they're
and
like
go.
underwear. You can change them out.
And some of them are dirtier than others.
Yeah.
Some of them have these incredible streaks and this
you can
strange
stop
odor.
now.
And like the elastic band doesn't actually have any
I'm
elastic
not really
left
doing
in
this
it.
tonight. Maybe I should.
It's really
I'm
more
just-
the idea
I'm just
of underwear
feeding
than
him
actual
crap to go
underwear.
off of. I'm like feeding him crap to go off of.
She did cook tonight, and it's pretty much close to it.
It is important to shop around though and check other folks out, because you can find some dirtbags, but they can lead you to some better people, and you can jump ship into a better situation.
And it's also
in my case,
important-
the better people were on EQ2, because after that happened in Galaxies, I was ready to kill every roleplayer I found. But the people in that RP tavern every Wednesday night on Talos, they were super cool. They'd always talk to you. That was the only thing that redeemed those guys. Well, it wasn't them, but role players in general. But it led to good role players in EQ2, so it still worked.
Ron wants to know if guilds are more like boxers or briefs. I believe that they are what I wear, which I know everyone wants to know, boxer briefs.
I don't think we wanted to know that, but now we know.
Everybody wanted to know.
They're more like boxers because you got, well.
But it's cool, Ashen, because I rock the boxer briefs too.
That's right.
Now that we all know that. But no, okay.
Green 5.
Good guilds are like boxers because they let you breathe and move around. Bad guilds are like briefs. They confine you and restrict your
That's
feet.
a really good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes the boxers are amazing, and then summer hits, and then it's just a sweaty mess down there, and there's things sticking to other things.
Anyway, so it's important. Nowadays, it's not as important to find a guild that's
The hot, sweaty
a perfect fit because they're... I'm trying to change the topic. No. Sorry. It is important to understand that now that you don't have to have just one guild, it's a lot easier to find one that works for you because people are less likely to be upset if you leave because you just say, oh, I need this slot. I'll see you guys later. It's less personal. People can get really upset when there's just a one guild format for a game.
Which most games still have. ESO is pretty unique in that one.
Guild Wars was the same way you could have more than one.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's 2 out of all of them. Almost.
Yeah. So, but if you only have one choice, don't be in a hurry to find one and find the one that fits your style best.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid if you get in the wrong one to say, love you guys. No, I love to role play with you, but I got to go.
Yeah, if you got to bend over backwards so much that the back of your head is touching the crack of your ass, probably it's too much. Like a lot of guilds just they frankly, and I'm not talking about like Jazz's stuff where you got to fill out the things and this and that. That's not that big a deal. But the ones where it's like, well, our interview process is anywhere from 2 to 7 years. All right, yeah, you know what? Don't got time for that. Sorry. I'm not taking it quite that. It's role play. I mean, I get it. You can do that if you want, but it's not worth it. It's not worth leaving someone hanging out there to dry while you try to figure things out, Well,
it's also important for some people that kind of process is great. Some people like it. And that's great if that's what you like.
Yeah.
But don't join. If you start to join a guild and they've got like 15, like we had at Silver Circle, we had tons of paperwork to join. And there was lots of role play you had to do before you could join.
Yeah, it only took a couple weeks, though. I've seen ones where it's like, it's a 1 to 3 month process to see if you fit in the guild. You know what? How about we just do the joining part? We talk a little bit, we role play, and if it doesn't fit, you just boot me. I don't need to go through this. I'm not trying to get a job at the fucking FBI here. I just want to role play an elf.
Exactly.
I'm just role playing an elf. I don't need to, I'm not getting to the CIA. I'm not going to be, going up to Canada to spy on their prime minister. It's just role play. Calm down a little bit.
We have a caller.
Yeah, I'm aware. I put them in the on-air live.
Ooh.
So with that spoiler alert, let's go to our caller on the call lines. Ronar. What's up, Ronar?
Hi, Ronar.
Hey, Rob.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
He's also bumbled his mic.
He's just a constant mess of being on, but we can't hear you, bud. Anyway, there you go.
Hey, welcome.
Push the top.
Welcome.
No, actually, my headset was muted. No, I just felt that it was very important that I come on and say that I do also agree that guilds are like boxer briefs and that they have to be snug as well. They have to be a tight-knit community.
That's right.
That's very
right.
good.
Yeah. And they're long
all.
enough to keep and they're long enough to keep you from chafing. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're boxer
And
briefs.
I think we need to kill Ashen because apparently unmuting is catching. Wasn't it him that
I don't
unmute last show?
I remember it differently.
You're making more people unmute or mute.
That was it. I just felt like.
Oh, okay. Yay!
Good to see you, Rob.
I appreciate you calling in, Rohan.
Yes,
and by the
thank
way,
you.
Soylent Point. Oh, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Dick jokes and underwear. What? This is what you come to expect. That's why you should go and visit us at patreon.com/RPMMORadio. You too can get more sweaty dick jokes.
Throw us some bones, because this ain't cheap.
Bones, really? You're going to go there now? Man, that's just perverted.
Okay.
So what's the next one?
Number 7.
High five, buddy.
Mr. Faye, you reading or am I reading? Or is Jazz reading?
I don't think either one of you know how to read.
I am not reading. Y'all are reading.
What are we at now? Number 7?
Number 7. Coming in at number 7 on the charts and not far from your hearts.
Be willing to take constructive criticism about your characters, especially if it is from a friend or someone you trust. Because it's a real bummer if someone comments on your character and your friend had been, hey, maybe don't do it that way, but this way.
Man, I'm like psychic.
Why are you psychic?
Because I kind of already went over that.
Yeah.
I know. No, I know. We're kind of rolling into these.
Yeah, it's what we always do. We always have a list of topics, and then just through the conversation, we end up hitting them all before we actually get to them. But that's one of the appeals of the show. It's why we are who we are, and Jay Leno is who Jay Leno is.
And we were just talking about during my roleplay, I had that problem. So having someone be able to take constructive criticism or a suggestion is always a good idea. If nothing else, run it by a friend after somebody says something to you. You know.
Yeah,
if you're new in RPing, don't be afraid or don't feel like they're picking on you if they give you constructive criticism. Take it in stride. Because a lot of times, because they're
constructive criticism is not, dude, your tune sucks, man. I mean, I can't stand it. He's so stupid. No, that's not constructive criticism at all.
Well, and never, and you can always hit it off like with Yunfei lately. They're creating new characters and stuff like that. She's been hitting me up for like checking stuff. She trusts me. I'm not gonna lie to her and be like, no, that's cool. And if I don't know the answer, I ask and we'll find out. And that's what, if you have a friend already in the game, because a lot of people don't go into a game completely blind. It's pretty rare that happens, or, that you don't already have some people that you may know. And if you do, then, you just got to play your cards as they come up. But a lot of times, ask your friends, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be shy. They're your friends for a reason, And if they're really your friends, they'll be honest with you and try to help you out. Not try to make you look like an idiot.
Even if you're a seasoned role player, it's cool to run ideas past your friends. Like, hey man, I got this idea. What do you think?
It is. It really is.
And sometimes it'll turn something better.
Oh yeah. I've ran it by all my stuff by you guys. I've ran it by Sibh'Bae, Roger. Anytime I have something, I'm not beyond needing like a second opinion. Nobody is.
So if you're new to roleplay, it's okay to say, hey, what do you think about this? We all do it, as you could just heard. Everyone has that moment where they need that little bit of, what do I need to do at this point? And they're like, hey, do this, or try this, or attempt this. There's always somebody out there willing to give good advice. But like Jess said, just be careful, because if they're like giving you, what am I trying to say, Jazz? You just said it a while ago. If they're being hateful and mean about it.
Yeah, constructive criticism is, like when I sent that guy a towel, you need to be aware that while I don't really care that much, there are going to be some role players who are not going to want to role play with you because of the way that you're portraying your character. It is outside of lore, technically, and you probably need to reconsider it. I wasn't mean. I wasn't bossy. I didn't say, you have to do this or you're a terrible role player. All I said was, you may want to rethink this. And I know it's important to use that kind of language because people are very sensitive about their characters, and nobody wants to hear that they, like when I made Vodka originally, I didn't realize she was so far out of lore originally until somebody sat me down and was like, okay, this doesn't work. She can't do that. Oh, really? And then they pointed me gently, because I had never done this before for the game, to read lore. And I was like, oh, look at that. I really am out of lore, aren't I? Oops. He's like, this isn't D&D. All the lore is not the same.
Yeah.
Oh, because I made a D&D character.
Which is an easy mistake to make, especially when you're
first starting. Yeah. They had elves. I figured, how different could they be? Boy, was I wrong.
Very.
Okay, so it is very important to know the lore, and if you don't, that's okay. But so if someone comes to you and says you're kind of out of lore, you might want to try this. Like we had a guy the other day that came into the bar, started shooting guns. He had a gun on his hip. No lie.
In ESO?
In ESO. And he got no less than 4 tells going, dude. No,
what an idiot.
There's no gun. Now, he was from Final Fantasy 14, and he really didn't think anybody would care.
They do have a machinist, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, well, there's none here. And he says, well, there was in Guild Wars 2. This isn't Guild Wars 2. This is ESO. There are no guns, not even
Yeah, they don't even have a flintlock yet.
Yeah, so you need to understand. So he took it off, he put his bow on, and I talked for about a half hour, and he restructured his character a little bit so it fit better into lore. He didn't get mad. He didn't get upset. He was aghast that he had made he didn't realize, that it was that different. So
sorry, Small, no gunblade for you.
Yeah. I was like, you can't do that. I'm sorry. There's no, so you can get it either way when you step up.
Well, I mean, just like Christmas's story with his, he first got into ESO and he was doing the Fusro Da, which is something that doesn't come back into existence until Skyrim. It's been gone for like a few thousand years. You can't do that, but he didn't know, and he learned, and now he's who he is. So what we got on number 8?
Okay. Number 8. There are bad people in the roleplay community. This is not a lie. Ones that will use you, ones that will try to manipulate you, ones that will give you bad advice. You are not married to them, and if you are RP married to them, that's fine. You can get an RP divorce. They exist.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
If they make you feel bad about yourself or your character, your story,
or both,
then more than likely they are bad for you. Take a step back. Mm-hmm. And I thought of, when I was writing this one, Sibh'Bae, I thought of you. There was a couple other people I thought of, because there are people out there that will try to abuse your character
and you out of character as well.
Yeah, to make themselves look better. And it's if you get that gut feeling, like, I mean, everybody has that gut feeling, I hope. And if you get it while you're RPing, like, wait a minute, this seems bad, take a step back, because tell them you don't want to do it. Because more than likely it's going to affect your RP in a negative way.
And there's some people that have really burned out on roleplay because they got into a bad situation with someone and they were too shy or didn't know enough about roleplay to take a stand.
Well, even when they are, like, Sibh'Bae, you've had those people, and you're not really shy, and you're familiar with roleplay, but they're insidious. They can get up under your they get up under your skin, and they can really get into your head, and it's not because it's a roleplay thing. It's just there's bad people out there that happen to also roleplay. I mean,
they're not just bad in the game. They're just bad all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're manipulating people in real life just as much as they are in game.
Yeah.
They're the creepy dude that at work, they're the what's his name? Dwight from Office. The Office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they're that guy. Those people exist, and they also play video games. They're out for themselves. They're out to do everything they can to make themselves seem better and look better and feel better by tearing down
their fault.
Everything around them.
Mm-hmm.
But you like you said, you're not married to them. And if you start to get that feeling, and if every time you log in and you start hearing from this person, you just feel miserable, check that, because you need to trust that feeling. Those exist.
The whole
for
marriage
a reason.
thing.
Like, you guys know me.
On that. I want to touch on that because I have run into this now 4 or 5 times in the last couple of months, where someone is married to someone in game, and they're being treated like they're married in real life, in the sense that, how dare you get on another character? Don't you care about me? Why aren't you paying attention to me? I thought we were married.
Why are you role-playing with her? What does she have that I don't have?
Yeah.
My character deserves your attention. You guys are married. Don't you care about marriage? Now, when you start having that conversation with someone...
the memories.
That is a red flag. It is waving loud and bright, and you need to back away because that person lacks the ability to tell the difference between role play and game.
Who am I to disagree?
And I will say this does tend to happen more with real life female players than male, but
it does happen with males.
It does happen with males too.
And we all know who I'm talking about.
They're like the guy, like the guy that I could see the guy that got evicted from his family's house because they had to sue him out of it as being one of those people.
Oh yeah.
Or what's this thing that's come around now? These incel people.
Incels, yes.
Right. Those people.
People who feel they have a right to have a girlfriend, and therefore, because they like you, you're obviously flirting with them because you spoke to them. Therefore, you not going out with them means that you are a tease.
Right. Yeah.
Which just makes my brain hurt, but I know they're out there.
It's not the fact that you look like a fucking pedophile. No, it's them. Why can't they see the glory that is? And those, I'm not going to go into the incel thing. Those people are fucking weird. But especially if you start classifying yourself as that, don't.
Well, it's also important to understand that people like that are often isolated and often of their own accord, but they're going to be gravitating towards games like this.
Yes, they will.
So it is important to understand that there are going to be very needy, broken people who are drawn to the MMO world because they don't look like they think they should, and they don't think that anyone will like them if they're honest about the way that they look. So they portray this character in a game, and it becomes who they are.
It becomes a dual personality in a lot
They
of
are
ways.
emotionally, I've met some people who don't mix, per se. Like, they know that the role play isn't happening to them, but the character, they are emotionally attached to the character. And that's a line that is hard for some, not us, because we've seen it enough that we're used to it. But to a new role player, that nuance is hard to explain.
It's a learned thing, yeah.
And the other side of it is the more dangerous one. When somebody is emotionally attached to their character, that's very different than somebody who can't tell the difference between what's happening, because you can train someone to find that line. Somebody who is emotionally and mentally and emotionally and spiritually attached to their character, have fun, run away.
Yeah.
Really.
And in a situation like this, because I'm not going to focus on this too much longer, we've still got a ways to go, but listen to your friends around you. If they're sometimes when you're so close to a thing, you can't see it, but if your friends are like, hey, dude, you seem like you're really miserable around this person, or they start don't just ignore that as, well, you're just being jealous because I've got this role play. No, actually, no one's really jealous of other people role playing. We're all role players. We prefer to actually see people role playing. So it just trust your friends. If your instincts aren't kicking in, trust your friends. And it's the hardest thing any human being can do. But a little introspection can go a long way to saving you a lot of trouble.
And I just want to add this little point for new role players. If this happens to you, don't let it destroy, your enjoyment of the game. That person is going to be that way forever, and just walk away. There's other good people out there to role play with. Trust me, they're out there.
I need that message
and they're
many years ago in SWG. Sibh'Bae, thank you.
But it's you just have to keep going. I mean, don't let it ruin your fun. Learn from the experience.
And see, Ashen said that to me a long time ago with a certain stalker I had, when he finally sat me down after several days of me just being crushed, and I was talking about closing the guild and leaving EQ, and I just couldn't take this anymore. And he sat me down and said that exact thing. You're going to let this person ruin your role play. Why are you doing that? You're going
to let the terrorists win?
Yes.
It's basically what it came down to.
Yes, that's what it came down to. And I got mad, and I was like, no, I'm not going to let them win. I don't let anybody win over me.
If you do it, the terrorists they win.
There is a fear, though, with those people that you're going to lose all your connections to all kinds of roleplay people.
And that's what they tell you.
Sometimes play along. It's manipulative,
And it may have an impact.
And it
might be like a divorce where you lose some of your friends, but most roleplay communities can't. No community, especially like ESO. There's no leaders in the roleplay community of ESO. I mean, there's people that are high up that you may know of, but they have literally no. They have no power. That you have no power over me. You know, they're the Goblin King.
No, and more than likely, the people that you're role-playing with know this person is bad for you, have seen it, have watched from afar, and understand, you know, hey, you need to get away from this person. So they already know what's going on, and they're more than likely, they're going to watch that person walk away and be like, well, they're all coming with me, and actually they're all staying with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep.
But if they do go with them, then you're just out.
You're
Better off.
You're better off.
Thank you,
all
Jazz.
drama llamas.
Cinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Yep.
That's the exact same thing. You're not
Dang it,
out
Cities.
anything. So what's with all that fun? What's what we got for number 9? I don't remember who read. Oh, that'd be Strafay now for 9.
Number 9, going to random RP events is a good thing. Helps you get your name out there and be seen. The more a RP community sees your character trying, the more they are likely to help you join in. Give your ideas.
Yes. Absolutely true. We touched on this earlier, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely an absolute get involved, get seen. Even if like I did, which was just sit in a bar and take notes.
And I'm going to read this number 10 real quick because it kind of goes into it with it. Baby steps. Our peers are cautious by nature, thanks to trolls. So
Yes.
don't get discouraged. Just keep trying. Eventually, they will realize you're legit and will come and welcome you. Plus, going slow helps you establish that shiny new character.
But y'all
Give
love
them-
Gormal. Come on. You gotta love
Give them
trolls.
some meat on their bones. So those two kind of
Yeah, they do.
work together.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, when you're brand new to it, you know, and yeah, a lot of things can be a little, you know, we've gone over cliques before, and cliques aren't actually a bad thing, but everybody has their group of RP friends, their guildies, the people they like. So branching out sometimes is just as hard for them as it is for you to, you know, be trying to put yourself out there. They're basically to meet new people have to do the exact same thing in return. You know, but eventually you always will come across somebody, you know, it's just, sometimes it might just take a little time. Some people may notice you, but maybe they're like right in the middle of something. You know, not everybody can stop everything they're doing to greet the brand new person that they've never met before and have no idea who you are, or if you're a real role player, or if you're just trying to troll them, or any number of things. But when they see you there night after night, it does get noticed. You may not think it all the time, but just like you start noticing the same things, the same people showing, you know, like how Jazz, how you've been at the taverns, you go there far more than I do, but
Yes.
you start noticing people, and when you first got in the game, people eventually started noticing this, you know, stinky little
It took 2
Bosmer.
weeks.
Yeah.
It took about 2 weeks of going just about every day before people were like, you know, you're here a lot. And they started, but you know, when you have somebody, especially like my character, who could barely talk and was kind of a confrontational smartass, they were afraid I was a troll. So it took a while for them to realize, no, this is her actual roleplay. But it did happen. It just took a little patience.
And in that time, it gave you a chance to read and learn and find out who the regulars there were, who the ones that were like, okay, well, you're here
to ERP. You're an actual
you're not
role player.
something I really want anything to do with. You seem to be very character and story oriented, which, since that's what you like, you would gravitate towards the character and story. And if you're there for ERP, you could go for the ERP guy, and then you know, and then you can go back to number 8.
It does take a little while to pigeonhole who's who.
It does.
Yeah,
and I will
it's
say,
important.
if you're there, if you're not even if you're noob, if you're active for a long time, even if you don't ever get outside your guild, let's say you have interactions with maybe 3 guilds tops, when you go to those public things, people know about you, and it's uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
To this day, I don't know how people know about some of my tunes in EQ2, but they do. They know they know all about them. I've never met him.
Yudfei has a good point. It's especially tough in an older, already established game and community, too. So, yeah, like she is, how her and Rahana, they're coming into ESO, and it's 4 years old now. You know, we just came in a year and a half ago now, and it was the same. And for us, it was you know, a 3-year-old game at that point.
Oh yeah,
And
it
was
wasn't
the
easy
same
to break
thing.
into
It
at
takes
all. Yeah.
it takes patience. It takes time. You know, and you just have to navigate around it, and eventually you break through. It's patient. It just takes patience on everybody's part, and you also, you know, having somebody interesting enough to people would then be like, oh, that was actually a lot of fun, and I want to know more. You know, do I have a newsletter I could subscribe to? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the turning points for Sial was that a Nord came in and started complaining about all the Khajiit and the Bosmer, and there are a lot at Riften, and was complaining about that and started picking on Sial. Now, I had seen him on another character, but not on this one. I recognized his @name.
The @names, yeah.
And he came over to me and started picking a fight, basically, with Sial. I think he was curious. So he picked a tune that was level 2, and he wanted to see what would happen. And we ended up getting into a battle. We got into a chat, you know, a group, and we rolled. I didn't know how to roll dice, so he rolled for me.
Yeah,
Because I didn't have the add-on at that point.
Right. I don't think it even existed a year ago on even Discord yet.
Well, no, it did. There was an add-on you could have, not in Discord, no, but
Yeah.
there was an add-on. There is an add-on.
There was that
It's not
website
anymore.
thing. Oh yeah, that add-on.
And there was
yeah,
there was an add-on, and there was a website, and the website was down, so we used the add-on. And I didn't get it, so I didn't have it yet.
Yeah, so
And I have an
you just
abysmal
trust
connection.
the guy.
So
Yeah.
so he
But
rolled.
what's the worst that happens? You lose a duel.
Well, I
you know?
could see his rolls.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was easy for me to see. He would just roll twice. Roll
Yeah.
for him first, me second, and that's how we did it. And Seal got her ass kicked, but she likes that, so that works.
Yeah, well, and that's you know, if you're gonna do a duel, be ready to. You gotta.
Oh yeah, you gotta be
can
ready to lose. But
You literally
she
have
gained
a 50-50 shot if you're doing dice. It's 50-50.
And she gained a permanent friend because he's a Nord, and that's kind of how they
Yeah,
make friends.
it's like,
So
like the Irish.
yeah, you got to beat up on each other first. So she
We're
took
best
her
friends
knocks.
forever now.
She took her knocks, and suddenly other people, because people stood and watched the duel, and they were half expecting god modding and drama. Everybody does when you see
Naturally,
two
like the
people
one,
going
like the
at it.
idiots we saw punching each other for an hour and a half, right?
Yeah. So they expected drama. They didn't get it. It went beautifully. And then the next time I showed up, somebody bought me a drink, and, you know. So
It went on from there. Yeah.
Right. But it took 2 weeks of me going just about every day and basically being ignored by everybody. But I was also doing the whole edgelord lean on the wall, stare at everybody.
Right. So that was
So,
so a week of that was your fault.
right, no, it was on purpose because that's what she
Week
would
of
do.
that was your fault.
But I understand that by doing that, that automatically meant some people were not going to even acknowledge my existence.
yeah.
So, but it was necessary. And it's important to just get out there and be patient, like you said.
Yeah. And those older guilds, trust me, they're looking for good RPers. People who are really committed to learning how to RP, to do the RP, because it helps them, you know, build on stories. You know, if you get in there with a good group, they're going to help you build your character. You're going to help them build the guild. It's a win-win. You know, you don't want to like corner yourself and make it hard for you to build on your character, but finding a good guild, they'll help you.
Well said.
Indeed. All right.
Indeed.
So number 10.
It's our turn.
Oh, we already did number 10.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did 10
Number
9
11.
and 10
That's
together.
right. Yeah. Number 11. Sorry. I forgot about that.
Still your turn.
Your turn.
Just like a man. Down with the patriarchy.
Oh, God, my mind is still just went to the gutter. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Learn to use the forums, websites, Discord, etc. These things are vital to gameplay. A lot of guilds will post events here, so a lot of guilds will post events here, stories, profiles. It helps your character kind of get an idea of how to include or how to get your character included.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I know
No, it's true.
forums are kind of going
They're
away.
a dying breed now. I still like them for story, and that's usually consistent profiles and stories and journals is primarily what they're still used for. But
That's how I won my way into SE and got accepted. I was writing like a madman on Ringots. People were reading the mess out of it. Suddenly, I was in the door.
Yeah. And with Discord now, that seems to be the day-to-day, like, you used to have to check it every single day on a website and a forum to see what events were planned, this and that. But now with the advent of Discord, just like we do with our show information, the day of the show, I put in there what we're going to, a reminder that it's going to be there, that it's going to be tonight, the topic's going to be briefly, and that's it. But it's also only something I can do, or the others can do as well, but nobody can make a comment or anything like that on there, so that it's always boom right there. And I know Servants does that. They have what's that called now? I'm looking at, they have a temple calendar, which basically they just take the MOTD of the day, and every couple days somebody will just basically copy it out of the game and paste it in there, and that's that, So everybody can know now without being in the game what's coming up. And Discord has definitely done a lot to make the forums really, but things like guild rules, stuff like that, forums are always going to be necessary for things like that, just so that people, especially with a lot of lore stuff, like the codexes and stuff the servants use, Jazz, all the rules and stuff that you have, like in-character rules and out-of-character rules, you've got places on them for the forums because they need to be in a consistent spot. So if there's a problem, you could be like what you've said before, well, your failure to read what was on the forums when I told you to is your problem, not mine. Here's your ticket.
Yep.
Yeah. And being new to RP, those are kind of your lifelines when you're starting out in a guild, knowing the rules and regulations and all the ins and outs. So if you have a random RP event where they're quizzing you, you'll have the answers.
Turn to the webpage. It's right there. We all do it.
Control F.
This doesn't mean you have to add any of this or add to any of this. You don't have to go there, right? You don't have to go there and, if you don't want to, you don't have to do anything. Not everybody's a writer. Yeah.
Oddly.
So, but it helps keep you in the know. Remember a lot of these items on the forums, websites, etc. are OOC. A good rule of thumb is to always ask the writer if you wish to use it in your RP. Always ask.
Yeah.
And I thought of you, Jazz.
Asking is
I wrote this.
Well, a lot of people, like when they do the journals, like my journal, it's OOC information only. Like where she keeps the journal, it's not going to be found, just because I don't want it to be. It's if for some reason, I guess if somebody's like, hey, they're really going to search for a journal, we would talk about it, I guess. But that, like in Servants, there's a few people that say like their journal, like if found, blah 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 blah. They actually have it in a spot where apparently it can be found, which is fine. But if you're going to do that, just make sure too that you're prepared, one, for the consequences of reading another person's journal, and you can't be upset in character about what you read there any more than you can be out of character about what you read there.
And I really think that's why a lot of people don't like forums, is because they have a problem separating, and they know that, so they don't want to read the private thoughts because it will influence their argument.
And I've done that. My characters don't like a certain person at that time in character, so she writes about it, I do know that there are people that will use that as a way of like we said before, as manipulation. Like they'll do nothing but say all the things that your character's doing wrong, and it to the point of trying to course correct or manipulate you, knowing that you're probably going to read that. That does happen.
Yes, they do.
Yes, it does often, and you have to. That's
but
the
if you're
downside.
Separating it, you just got to realize, well, if that's what your character would do, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And it's also, when you write a journal, you take the chance somebody's actually going to react to what you said. And you need to be ready to say, dude, that was in the journal. You can't say that you know this by her behavior, because I had that problem with Vodka because she was such a duplicitous, two-faced little harpy that what she really thought of you, you probably were never going to know. The only way that you were going to find out is if you read her journal. And in the front of her journals, as you will remember, it said not only is it in ancient Thexian, which you probably don't speak, it's also coded in poison. So if you open it in the inside, the very first page says at the very bottom in little tiny print, it said in common, if you are reading this journal, seek a healer.
Yeah.
And I had a couple people that insisted that they had found her journal and they didn't read the whole thing.
Right.
They didn't read the first page.
They read the bits about where you spoke of them.
Right. And I was like, so you're saying that you found it and you looked at it and you read it. So you speak Old Thexian. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. And did you go see a healer? When did this happen? Oh, it happened yesterday. So you're dead.
Yeah. Because
so,
you're God modding at that point.
Right. So, but
or metagaming.
You need to be able to handle it with a sense of humor. I never got angry. I just kind of kept it kind of funny, and usually that offset them being a smart ass. Okay, I guess I didn't read it. I didn't think so.
Yeah, and you have to be prepared for those people that read it and then they take offense,
Yeah.
Real.
I thought you were my friend. How could you say that?
You have to be like, hey, it's
nobody
a
wants
game.
To,
That's how my character would react. That is my character. That is not me. I love you to death.
Of a different sort.
It is mixing, yeah.
It
and
is.
Of course, nobody likes their character to not be liked. It's just everybody likes being liked. Nobody wants to be hated. But sometimes, especially in these things, you have to act a certain way as your character, and it's not always going to win you, the mayor badge. You're
right.
You're not going to get any.
And sometimes those feelings can change, and then you realize that this, like Vaca realized there was a person, I forget who it was, but she didn't like them initially, and then after they were in the guild a while, she started to like them, and this chick was so happy that Vaca finally liked her, and I was, minor mixing in the sense that she was making her character nicer to Vaca to try to get Vaca to like her. Yeah, it's kind of wiggle room, whatever.
Yeah.
But, it worked. And in the end, it turned out well. But, like you said, everybody wants their character to be liked. And I understand that. So I'll often look the other way for that particular form.
Yeah. So, all right. So one more to go and we'll start closing this down here.
Sibh'Bae, me, you, me, you, me, you. Sibh'Bae, did I lose you?
Marty, this doesn't mean you have to add to any of this, but...
Oh, no, we've already did that one.
Okay.
13.
Which number are we freaking on? 13?
13.
So it is still my turn. All right.
Yes.
Always ask for doing. Attempting will get you everything, everywhere, while just doing will get you shut down. Yes. Someone should have told that silver hat ordinator that she should have attempted to knock me in the face. I would have let her anyway, but she still got away with it.
It's still, you still got to attempt it, even if, even if it is, if it's a foregone conclusion, it's still a polite thing to do.
It is polite. I just went with it because I respect it. I'm a newbie there. I'm trying to get in, so I just let the answer go. But you should totally ask.
Where our ad kind of went into. This is where I got our ad from. You, being a new person playing RPing, you really need to attempt, no matter what it is. I mean,
anytime, new or old, it's just at any time you should always
to start with
until you get like. I know that if my character walks up to somebody that I know really well, I know that I can say she swings at him, and that's as close.
It's
to
assumed that it's also an attempt as well,
right? But they know me, and I know them, and we're very comfortable.
Yeah,
I
like
can
you and me. If I come up and
like,
pat you on the head, for example, I know you had a problem with that the other day, but if I do that, we know each other well enough to know that it's basically an attempt. Like if you had, for some reason, if you really had like amazing reflexes that you can avoid a pat from the head from behind, well, then you'll do that. Otherwise, you just assume it lands. But when, and it happens even with officers, we can get into that, especially with officers, actually. I think that there's a certain level of comfort that comes with being in a position of, quote unquote authority that you sometimes forget that you're still just a role player and you're no special than the lowest recruit, really.
Yes.
You may have authority within your guild and stuff like that, but you still have to make that attempt, even if, like Sibh'Bae, he was bound, chained, whatever, and all that, and he would have just been like, gets thumped in the back of the head, but you still have to make that attempt with anybody you're not intimately and really, really familiar with on a, on a level like most of us are.
Well, like I said, it's a good thing for new players
You're right.
to do right off the bat. Just don't even just attempt everything.
Well, shoot,
because you don't want to. I know it's good for everybody, but new players should just get in the habit of doing it.
It's a good habit to start.
Yeah.
Even Kishmas, with him and like we've said before, him and Nathala, they've been married in character for years. They, over a year now or whatever, and they're friends, OOC as well, and they still attempt every rub of, arm over the shoulder, kiss on the cheek, pat on the back. They still attempt that.
And that's something that's awesome. And I think if new players start it when they start RPing, it's kind of a habit they'll stick with.
It's a good habit to start, yes, and foster, because I'm so used to y'all that if y'all do anything in my tunes, I generally let it go because I've known y'all so long.
Yeah.
They're so cute. Yeah.
Well, I am down here in the great state of Texas.
His Texan pokes out. His Texan poked out a little.
When I know people really well, I will still send them a tell and say, do you mind if I God mod a teeny bit? Or I'll say something like that. She's going to just do this and I'm just letting you know. And most of the time they've been like, go do it.
Yeah, with me, it's like, if it's me, I'm like, whatever. I still appreciate the heads up.
Yeah, but I still send a tell and it's like, okay, this is what she's going to try to do.
Yeah, because you, even as a guild leader, as an officer, just as a friend that's, your roleplay friends, you don't want to you don't have the right or permission at all times to take over someone else's character to decide if they're hurt, if they're damaged, or that you automatically hit just because you are who you are.
And when we had Silver, our officers and a lot of the people in the guild had been in the guild for 10 years. I mean, we had people that had been in that guild forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we got new people coming in and they didn't see the attempt, we had to have a meeting about it, OOC. We had to have a talk about it because we'd all gotten so comfortable with each other that when a new person came in, they weren't seeing us attempt.
Right.
They just saw us doing it, and then they did it, and they got their crap jumped.
Yeah.
And
because it was.
I was like,
with us, it was all implied. But with them, they actually expected it just to land. But when everyone else did it was comfortable, it looked the same, but everybody knew that. Like, if my character Xanis swung a punch at Rengott's, even if I just said / emotes, swings for Rengott's nose, there is no attempt written in there. It was just implied.
Right. So it is a good habit to get into.
Yeah. So we had to have that meeting and say, okay, maybe we need to get that back in our language again.
And I did love that fist in the face when you were all crystalline, Xanis. Just saying.
And like Yudfe said at the same time, on the same note, don't be afraid to accept attempts too. You don't always have to dodge every punch thrown at you.
Yes.
And a lot of the time it's more, it's more fun to, and given, you're gonna dodge some of them, but you have to situational, awareness.
Getting hurt is important.
Right. If somebody comes up from behind you and sucker punches you in the back of the head, chances are, yes, they still need to attempt it, but chances are
your fist comes up and grabs that, no, it didn't. Stop.
Right. There can be ways to do that, especially if your character, and sometimes, like, I know, like, Xanis has done that. Like, I think when, I want to say Greiger or Xanis, they had a few spars and fights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they would do stuff like that, but that was just because we were like, it's cool, but we would do that back and forth to each other, and that was the whole point of that. But if it had been somebody I didn't know, he probably would have been sucker punched in the back of the head. So, all right.
It's a good habit to get into.
Yeah. It is. It's a good habit to start from the very beginning. It's like a lot of things. It's a lot easier to build the habit before you get bad habits, and build the good habits before you get the bad ones.
Yeah, that's why I figured it'd be good in this one.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, actually, go ahead.
I have one other little thing.
No.
If you're and you get in a situation that you are just like an RP situation that you just are stuck, you have no idea what to do, and it involves you and several other people, don't be scared to talk to those other people.
Mm-hmm.
I know I am horrible about stuff like this, and it flusters me to no end. So coming from somebody who's been doing it, how long have I been doing this? About
8 years now, maybe?
8 years now?
8 years, yeah.
I still cannot if I get into a situation that flusters me, it is hard for me to open up and talk to people. So don't, and when you finally do, like I did, they were just as, unsure and flustered as I was. So just don't be afraid to be open and, talk to your friends, because it's hard.
Even old role players, they may see, like we come off all confident and we do know what we're doing and we are fairly confident, but anything can shake your confidence. Anything could make you start questioning everything and then question everything, because very few people want to set out to be, an asshole just to be an asshole. A lot of it is just that we all have our own insecurities. We all have those weaknesses and those things that we worry about that, maybe, I ran in an event this week actually on my Menace and my Gargoyle thing. And it had no combat in it. It was strictly role play, and I was nervous about it because it was basically them going up to a nerdy mage that had been dissecting both the mutated gargoyle and a regular gargoyle and explaining. I came up with a form of why it was that they're so resistant to magic, given some internal organ they have that works basically in a way of, it almost works like a magical ward. It's a biological ward, basically, is how it works, and it's just something that's inside their body and works naturally. Given I'm making this mostly up because there's no actual lore on gargoyles in the Elder Scrolls or at all, hardly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or anywhere really, is
right. So I was just kind of making it up because they are lore-wise, they are still supposed to be highly resistant to magic. In previous games, I found at least a chart that showed that they're like 20 and 30%. So I was trying to come up with a way to that. And I was nervous because there was no combat, and we typically always do combat stuff, and it was just straight role play. And I was nervous about it. I didn't really have any reason to be. It went on for an hour and a half, and I'd only figured it'd be like 40 minutes to an hour long at the most. So apparently people had fun, and that was good. And they were all participating, all role playing, asking questions, getting answers. It was a lot of fun. But even old timers, everybody has that self-doubt. Nobody wants to go in there and look like a jackass. Nobody wants to do that. It's just just the way of people.
We do.
Do we?
I was gonna say we do have someone speaking there.
We do. All right. Well, we'll take the caller before we end the show real quick. So let me drag them down here. So with that, let's go to our call lines real quick and go to Jacka12. How's it going, Jacka? Are you there?
Hello.
Stop! Good God, man! You almost got the cheese done.
And we got trolled. That's awesome.
I don't know whose kid was that, but way to go.
It was a clip from something.
Yeah, it sounded like it. That's what we don't have people to do a call screener.
we got to remember not to feed Ericus after 12.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Jacka12. Well done. That was good.
That was awesome.
It's a good proper trolling. I approve.
Of course you approve. So, all right. Well, anybody have any final thoughts before we head on out?
No.
I think we pretty much hammered this right into the ground. I think we did a good job.
Good. All right. Let's start that up there then. Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Night, folks.
I hope that was good for everybody. Newbies out there.
Mike. Or Ashen. It was so good for me.
Dang, hot Jessica. We ain't seen her in a while.
Night.
I mean, that was all right. Anyway, no, it was good stuff. Newbies out there, take heed. We hope it helps out. We do appreciate that. We want to thank everyone, of course, for listening. You can catch us every Saturday, 7 Central Time, twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. If you want to contact us, we're on Facebook. You can rpmmoradio@gmail.com. Twitter, of course. You can join our Discord, rpmmoradio.com/Discord. And like I said, if anybody wants to go and help us promote the show over at the subreddit of MMORPGs, oh, by God, just feel free to do that for us. I would really appreciate that, just because there's nothing they can do to you. Well, that's what they say, but they don't actually follow their own rules. So you might get banned, but really, are you missing out on anything? I
agree
that you are not. So with that, just everybody tune in next time for halflings and the rising risk of diabetes among them. Next time on RPMMORadio. Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMMORadio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth. Music, as always, is provided by the one, the only, Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his video game rock covers and original music.